Well, here we are again at the No Name Yet Quilt Along, and today's block is going to be the Kansas Troubles. This requires, according to the legend or the pattern, you will be making a bunch of half square triangles for this, and it's kind of a pinwheel. For pieces A and D, you're going to need either 2 or 1 fabric. It doesn't matter. The pattern's kind of showing 2. So I went ahead and picked a burgundy for both of these that complement one another. And then, of course, you're going to also need a background. So for your background, it's going to be your biggest piece. You're going to need a 3.5-inch strip, which then you will cut using your easy angle ruler. You're going to be cutting 4 of these on your 3.5-inch strip. And then for piece D, you're going to cut from a strip using your easy angle ruler again, and you're going to cut 4 of those. And the method is laying the line on and trimming, and then undulating like this. And then for the small half square triangles, which we are making 1, 2, 3, 4, we're making 16 of these. You will be placing right sides together, and these will be cut on the 1.5-inch strips. And again, using your easy angle ruler, you're going to make 16 cuts and then make your HSTs. Additionally, piece B, you will need 4 1.25-inch squares. Yeah, that didn't make any sense. So you're going to cut 1.25-inch strips for pieces A out of your background and your burgundy with right sides together. You're going to cut on the 1.25-inch mark. And so I'm going to get my cutting done, and then we're going to come back and start sewing. Okay, for any of you that want to print out the pattern, because you don't have the easy angle ruler, you will, after you print this out, and the link will be on my blog, I'll go ahead and pin that below for this post. So when you measure, when you put a square ruler on top of piece C, it should measure 3.5 by 3.5 as a square. Or you could move over to piece B, which is even easier. I don't know why I didn't think of this. And it should measure 1.25. If it does not, you need to adjust your printer settings, and then you can use the templates. So I have my pieces cut, and I have matched my sets to sew. So I'm going to go ahead and sew my half square triangles. After I sew these, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to trim them to 1.25-inch square, because when you are dealing with very, very tiny pieces and something's just a little bit off, when you go to sew everything together, it becomes a lot off. Also, I have opted to use a very large print for my background. This could become a problem. Some of these darker flowers, if they end up close to a darker fabric, it may interfere with the pattern, so keep that in mind. You might want to keep your print small for this. The smaller the piece, the smaller the print. That's a general rule, but you know, some of us quilters aren't rule followers, and we rebel and we do it how we want to do it. So however it works for you, do it. Okay, I went ahead and made extra because I was afraid of this, which if I come in 1/4 inch, that portion will show. I'm going to be okay with that. And I'm going to trim this down to 1 1/4 inches. And I always line up my HST seam line on the ruler. Same destination, just different way to get there, however you choose to do yours. And yes, I square up both because sometimes they're not square. And I'm going to repeat this for all of my HSTs. And then we'll start piecing the block together. Okay. So I'm going to make 4 of these blocks. So I'm going to stack my pieces like so. And I see I still need to cut my little square. So let me do that right quick. Okay, in laying this out, you will need to also cut an additional 8 pieces of your strip half square triangles. You're just going to use the halves. And I didn't realize that whenever I was starting this, so. I may have made too many of these. Okay, so the key to this, whenever you lay it out, your dark pieces are going to make a bow right here. And if I look at this, we've got 2 half square triangles, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're making 4, 8, yeah, we are making 16. But you are going to go ahead and you're going to cut 8 pieces of these others. And then I'm going to sew this block together, and then you'll see how it looks. And ideally what we're going to do, we're going to start on one side of this dark triangle, and I'm going to sew my 2 half square triangles together like so. And then I will sew it to this. Okay, I have this little piece sewn together, and now I'm going to join it to this piece. And I'm going to go ahead and press to the dark side. All right, now that we have that on there, then we can join this piece to here. And you're just going to match up these 2 edges. Don't worry about that edge. And then I'm going to sew. And I do chain piecing. So at this time, I would just continue on doing this over and over. And if you look, this is the sub block. I go ahead and I do all my steps in my sub block and then sew. All right, I have this piece joined. Now I need to join this as a row. So I'm going to sew all these pieces together in a row. All right, if you have a clapper, this would be a great time to use it. So I've made my strip. Now we've got this dog ear here, so I'm going to go ahead and just trim that off. I'm not going to use a ruler, I'm just going to trim it off. I don't want that extra warmth in the quilt, I guess. And now I'm going to join these 2 pieces, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to nest this seam and this seam. So remember, we pressed this to the dark side. I've pressed all of these pieces towards this square, and then when I go to nest them, I know that they're gonna nest. And I'm, again, going by the corner of this and lining up my piece, and then I will sew right here. Okay, pressing. So now I have this half done. I'm gonna turn this over. I'm gonna spin this seam. I'm gonna get the bulk out of this. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm gonna press everything up to the dark side. And again, I'm going to trim that little bitty dog ear. And now I'm ready to join my 2 halves together. And if I've done this right, this and this will measure the same, minus the dog ear. So again, I'm going to measure up these two sides, and then I'm gonna sew along the long side. And when I open this up, I'm not gonna press to the dark side. I'm actually gonna press to the less bulk of fabric. So I'm gonna press it open like so. And let me give this a press at the iron. And there is my sub block. I will repeat this 3 more times to get 3 more of these, and then I will be able to spin my pinwheels. I really enjoyed making this block, and I hope you found this easy, and please reach out to me in the comment section if there's anything in here I did not make clear. I have went ahead and sewn my rows, and the path of least resistance, normally I press this seam this way and this one this way, but this seems to, because there's less bulk, it wants to press like this, and this one wants to press like that, so that's how I did it for this. And now I'll nest my seams and finish the block. Okay, and yes, this was the right way to go. So I'm gonna spin my seam, and so everything's kind of going counterclockwise on this. Oops, forgot to cut a thread. Let me press this. And what a pretty little 6-inch block. So scrappy, I love it. For those of you who are here for the first time, I am doing a quilt along. All the blocks are available, and that link will be in the description box. And if you have any questions, reach out and contact me. Thanks for watching.